Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Happy, what day is it? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
I'm Jay Zawaski, sitting here with my buddy Mario Tirabassi.
Rusev Day.
Greg Boysen is back at the United Center. Will join us momentarily. The Hawks beat the not-so-hated anymore Red Wings. We'll get into that at some point.
Yeah.
4-2.
We need to have a fan symposium.
Yeah, we got to get things...
before the beginning of the season, we need a fan symposium.
Yes, we do. Hawks win 4-2 over the Red Wings. 2 goals from Corey Perry. Connor Murphy scores. Connor Bedard begrudgingly adds an empty net goal that he actually looked pissed to score.
He was so mad.
He did not want it to go that way.
Mad.
But he'll take it. Ends the night with 3 points. Look, good game all around. I think the ice sucked tonight. We saw a lot of really weird dudes just falling down, including Mackenzie Entwistle, who had a 2-on-0.
Oh,
basically,
rough
him
game.
And Boris Kachuk were open from maybe center ice, or was no one that
close to it. Yeah. If you want to see what a bad line change is in hockey, play that line change over and over.
It was shorthanded too.
It was so bad. Yeah, on a power play too.
So
from the Red Wings.
2-0 as if the other team doesn't exist, and Mackenzie Entwistle just falls down. Then heads to the bench frustrated and tries to break his stick and fails. Later in the game, he hits the post. If he had a family, they'd be so disappointed.
It was just a rough game for him. It's already bad enough that he is in a tight roster battle for being not even a regular skater, for being the 13th forward, and then you have a night like tonight where it just seems like you have all of the bad puck luck. It's rough. You kind of maybe shake your head a little bit, try and chuckle it off. I know Derek King had a long chat with Mackenzie on the bench after that missed 2-on-0 opportunity. Hopefully he gave him a nice one-liner in there to try and loosen him up a little bit. But man, it's one of those nights where, and yeah, I would say the ice probably was the bigger factor. I don't think guys like Mackenzie Entwistle just forget how to play hockey. I think the ice probably betrayed him a little bit. It was 90 today.
Yeah.
On October 3rd or whatever day it is. It's October 3rd, right?
Yep.
Mean Girls.
All day.
It's the United Center ice hasn't needed to be functional in 90-degree weather since 2015. So, maybe they're a little rusty on
we had
on the surface.
15 years ago, we had a slightly inebriated Dustin Bufflin tell us on the score that the United Center ice is the worst in the league.
It's tough.
I've heard that a couple times since then, too.
Hopefully it's better by the time the regular season starts. But, yeah, I mean, there was so many on both sides for both teams. So many, lost edges, fumbled pucks, bad passes. Obviously the Entwistle fumbled puck was the biggest glaring mistake, but there was a lot where it was just I know it's preseason. I know this is perchance for bad hockey, but it's not this bad.
No.
I think that was probably an extra factor.
We do have a lot to get to. Before we do, smash that like button for us. We'd appreciate that. Lots of people watching, not a lot of people liking. We need to get you in the habit of smashing that like button on the YouTube page. And while you're there, you could vote for our 4th star of the night. Have we seen the 3 stars come through yet?
Yes, I just had it up. The 3 stars. 3rd star of the night. Number 98 in your playbook. Number 3 on the stars. Connor Bedard. He had his first preseason goal and 2 assists. Number 2 star of the night, Taylor Hall, who also had 2 assists. And the number 1 star of the night, number 94 on your roster sheet, number 1 in your hearts, Blackhawks fans.
Admit it.
Corey Perry with 2 goals right at the net front, winning over the United Center crowd.
All right, so with that in mind, you've got the 3 stars. Now it's time to vote for the 4th star, which we allow you to do after every game. Our nominees for tonight, Colton Dock.
Yes.
Lucas Reichel,
Yep.
and Peter Mrazek.
Oh, we went with Mrazek.
We went with Mrazek because He assisted Connor Bedard's empty net goal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that here. Yep.
Yeah, we were going to give it to
Taylor Hall had the secondary assist on there, so 3 assists for Taylor Hall. There you go.
We were going to give the third vote to Mackenzie Entwistle just out of sympathy.
Yeah.
But Mrazek, when you assist on a goal and play kind of well, we'll get to him later maybe if we have time.
You get the win.
You got the win.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let's start as we do most nights with Connor Bedard because I think that's what a lot of people are interested in. And you and I were talking on our way out of the United Center. Early in the game, I think we started to see a little bit of frustration from him where things were just not maybe going the way he had hoped. There were a couple near misses. There were a couple pucks that just kind of squirted away from him. And you could see him kind of visibly frustrated on the ice. And I think towards the end of the first period, I was really trying to focus on him every time he was on the ice, which is kind of hard not to do. Your eyes just kind of drawn to him. But almost appeared to me as if his brain was like a hamster on a wheel. Like everything was moving too fast. And we hear all the time from guys moving from junior or the American League or college to the NHL of adjusting to the speed of the game.
Yeah.
It felt to me like Bedard had more time than he thought. It felt like almost like he was rushing, and I'm interested to hear what Luke Richardson has to say post-game, and hopefully we get the video in time to share it, or Greg can tell us as well. Something changed after the first. In the second and third, he was a different guy. Especially in the third, he was incredibly effective. A couple on-the-money passes. That second Corey Perry goal, he gets it to Taylor Hall, who gets it to Corey Perry. But you're starting to see, like, now Taylor Hall is learning, I have to be ready all the time for the puck.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple instances early where Bedard would try to get it to somebody and they wouldn't be there or they would not expect it. I think that he needs to slow down. He needs to realize that he's going to score. He's got his moments. He's got his chances. You could see, and I think that's why he was a little bit frustrated on that empty netter, because I feel like he didn't want his first goal to be an empty netter.
Yeah.
Dude, it doesn't matter. Put up 3 points a night, and you're going to be okay. But he was a different guy, in my mind, from the first to the second and third. I think in the first period, he looked visibly frustrated with himself.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with kind of the quality of hockey that we're seeing right now in the preseason, where you're getting rosters that are half NHL players, half minor league players, or a game like tonight where the Blackhawks play like 75% of their NHL roster, and you see it on the ice. It kind of translates to where guys who clearly should be at the highest level of pro hockey and guys who should not are trying to play the same game at the same speed, and things just get choppy and not pretty out there. Bedard, I think, will be totally fine once he's out there at full NHL capacity for rosters, and he's out there with guys who are all able to play at that same pace, all able to play at that same speed. I think that's where his game is going to start to be able to flow a little bit better. I think with what he's doing right now in the preseason and the space he's getting and the opportunities he's getting, I think it's his first taste of playing professional hockey, even though he's played at high levels and in the World Juniors and stuff. It's all amongst his peers, but now he's getting into the groove of playing against professionals, playing against men. The game is faster and everything, but he's able to play at that level. And I think he's able to do so many things on the ice, whether it's use his shot or use his his awareness and his on-ice vision to distribute the puck, whether it's to stick handle through opponents. He can do so many things on the ice that I think when the game is not clean and crisp and it's kind of choppy and not easy to kind of weed through, gets muddy in there in preseason hockey, there's just so many things that he wants to do. He's just trying to figure out what he can do. And I think when he's trying to say, oh, let me try and stick handle, and he pulls something off, it's a great highlight. But he's got to finish the chance, which he hadn't done, hasn't done yet.
31 other fan bases are going to be really pissed that the NHL tweeted it.
Yeah, apparently. But when he goes through and stick handles and then loses the puck, he's like, well, I should be able to do that.
Yeah.
There's things that you're going to be able to get away with at junior levels that you won't in the NHL. And I think for him, it's probably this mindset of like, well, I know I can do that, but it didn't happen this time. So either he's going to get frustrated and go back at it and be like, no, I'm going to make it work. And I trust eventually make it work because he is that skilled. Or it's something that he's going to have to say, you know what? Can't do that anymore. I got to tweak it. I got to tweak how I try and, find a passing lane that may be there in junior, but it's not there in the NHL. Or I can go 1v4 in Regina, but I can't do it in Chicago. It's different. So I think that transition, it doesn't look crisp and clean in the preseason, but I think by the time we get to regular season, I think it's going to start to piece together the right way for him.
I want to be clear too. I am not at all worried.
No.
I did see the frustration from him, and look, he's
a competitor.
Any player adjusts, and like we've talked about this for years. Like anybody making their jump to pro, we talked about this with John Scott. At some point, John Scott was the best hockey player on his team.
Yeah,
right.
Think.
And like a lot of these enforcer types, they're like, all right. Dave Boland's a great example. Dave Boland's junior numbers were astronomical.
Yes.
Astronomical. Yeah. And he's like, all right, I'm not going to do this in the NHL. Even Connor Bedard has to adjust to what worked in junior versus what works in the NHL. And he will. And guess what? With him, he's going to find a way to make it work in the NHL. He's going to adjust his game and adjust his moves and adjust his scouting and adjust his studying. That's the thing about him being a rink rat, is he's not just going to go home and forget about it. He's going to be working on it like crazy the next day until he gets it right.
Yeah.
I have zero concern. If anything, I'm more encouraged after this game because you saw him start the game frustrated and get better. Had it started to snowball and avalanche on him and anything else that Snowflakes can do on him, like, then I'd be a little bit worried.
Yeah.
But the fact that he figured it out and got better and better and better as the game went on and more dangerous as the game went on, super encouraging. And we talk about the blue lines and the game scores. Once again, Connor Bedard, the highest rated player in this game by a significant margin. Final game score from him, according to our friends at Hockey Stat Cards, 3.12 game score.
Jesus.
That is the highest he's had all preseason.
Looking at it right now.
Corey Perry, second with a 2.89 game score. Joe Veleno, who's looked really good for Detroit, by the way, 2.86. Wyatt Kaiser, 2.54. Taylor Hall, 2.50. So there's your top five in the game.
Yeah, really
but he
good.
He took a frustrating first period and fixed it and turned into as dangerous of a player as we've seen on this Chicago ice in a long time.
Yeah, I think I'm not, like you said, I'm not worried about it at all because he is a super competitive guy. He talked today before the game at Morning Skate about, what Sunday's 6-1 loss to the Red Wings felt like. How do you respond in those situations? And, he said you go out and you win the next one. And he doesn't like losing. He doesn't like losing preseason games. He doesn't like losing in the Blackhawks red versus white scrimmage. He doesn't like losing, little mini games in camp. He's a guy that wants to win. And, yes, make your jokes about, the Blackhawks aren't going to win much this year. I don't worry about that getting to him, because he was on a Regina Pats team.
Yeah. He dragged them to the playoffs.
That literally only made the playoffs because he put up 140 points. So he's not to say that he's conditioned to losing,
right?
But he's been exposed to it.
Yep.
He knows how to get over it. And I think he's a guy that is going to go the extra mile to make sure that if there's something he can do to improve his game, to make sure that his team doesn't lose again, he's going to go in and do that. So I think this is a game where he had 3 points. He had two assists. Scored the empty net goal. But it's not going to be. Most guys would be like, I had 3 points. I had a pretty good game.
He's not.
My blue line was huge.
Take a look at this blue line.
Yeah, Bedard's going to probably go into film session tomorrow and have more improvements, more things that he says, I need to do this better, need to do that better, than he does pats on the back.
Yeah. We have a lot of performances to talk about. It was not just about Connor Bedard. Lots of guys played very well. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to highlight a lot of those players that played very, very well in this game.
Yeah. And for reference, I know we've referenced Dave Boland's junior numbers a lot, but for those who don't know, in his last year of junior with the vaunted London Knights, 57 goals, 130 points in 59 games. His career high in the NHL, he scored 19 goals twice and 47 points in the 2008-2009 season. That was his career high.
Yep.
So talk about a guy who was a monster in junior and changed his game.
Huge.
Hey, you want a game changer?
Yes.
Look no further than our friends at Ray, Chevy, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. If you are in the market for a new vehicle, they have some great news for you because Ray, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram in Fox Lake has just joined the CHGO team. What a team to be on, right? A team that wins trophies like this.
Champions.
That's a team you want to be on. At Ray, Chevy, this is the first time when you sight read an ad, you screw it up. At Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and find unforgettable savings. And right now, during Ram Power Days at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, please don't do that.
What?
When I'm trying to read this.
Ram Power.
Only in Fox Lake, you'll be. Oh God, we can't even get through this.
Too caffeinated. I'm sorry.
Oof. Only in Fox Lake, you'll be able to secure 0% financing or 17% off new Ram models. Don't do it. But that's not all. Now through October 31st, explore their newly renovated showroom and take advantage of limited time 7-year anniversary savings. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram because they are the only team that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. That's on my neck of the woods, so if you're out there in Fox Lake, say hi. I'm not giving you my address. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com today, serving the community since 1963.
Look at that. Just like Connor Bedard, starts out frustrated and finishes strong.
Finish strong.
Beautiful job. Hey, you like watching sports and TV and all that stuff?
Yes.
You want to spend less money to do it?
Yep.
All right. Well, here you go. FuboTV.com/CHGO. That is where you will get 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. Anything in the news today? Nothing I saw. Stream live TV from any device. Watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price. And start watching immediately with a free trial at FuboTV.com/CHGO. There is no contract. There is no cable. There is no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. That's like a lot of Hawks games on your DVR.
Yeah, that's a lot of hours.
You can watch your local teams while traveling. You've got college football, the Big Ten, NFL Network, Red Zone, all that great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. College football, NFL with Fubo. Go to www.FuboTV.com/CHGO. That's how it's written. To sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Again, that's http://www.FuboTV.com/CHGO.
It's for all you coders out there that like to type the entire link.
I hate when they put the whole web address in the ad copy. I hate it.
That's great.
Everyone knows what to do, damn it. All right. Couple guys played very well. A lot of guys played very well.
Yeah.
I want to start as we're talking about making adjustments with Wyatt Kaiser.
Yeah.
Strong game, again playing on the right side in this one. The first goal the Hawks scored, the Corey Perry goal, the first one. Wyatt Kaiser is on the right side boards at the blue line, pressured on his offside, on his backhand, and wins that board battle. Had that not happened, that goal does not occur.
Yeah.
So good to see him showing the awareness, the confidence, the skill, and the strength to win a board battle against at least 2 Red Wings on the boards to keep the play alive. Great. He's played very well. I think he is absolutely making the team. I would be absolutely shocked if Wyatt Kaiser is not your opening day right side defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's making the team. I think of the guys who are still here that have played their offside position in that role, he had the best performance. And I talked to him before today's game about doing that, and he said it's first time he's trying it in a game setting, and I think he passed the first test for sure. You notice it after the last couple of days, especially all throughout training camp when Nolan Allen was here. You notice it when guys are playing their offside, just how often, especially defensemen, how often they're playing the puck along the boards on their backhand. And I tried to watch Kaiser tonight, specifically like when he was along the board, and he's just backhand shovel, just trying to, all those times when you get the puck and it's a 1v1 race to the puck, and every time it's along the boards, you're shoveling out your backhand. Like, that has to be a really hard transition for a guy who's so used to it. It almost becomes muscle memory as a defenseman that you have your forehand to go to the boards. You could even just try and dig something out and drag it to your backhand and then get it to your forehand where you can create some space. In that situation, you just have to shovel it out and just make the play up the board. So you see how often he has to do it, and why Luke Richardson says, like, a player in that position playing their offside with their back turned to the play a lot, picking up pucks or trying to move them up the boards, they're going to take a lot of hits because you're getting hit in the back. So for Kaiser to be able to handle all of that, make those plays and make them with, some poise is really impressive to see. I agree. I don't think there's any doubt he makes the team. Today we saw Alex Vlasic with Seth Jones. Wyatt Kaiser until tonight was primarily playing with Seth Jones. So it'll be interesting to see where those guys fit in.
But Phillips tonight, most of the night.
But if who was it, Phillips? Oh, Kaiser was, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're saying that Nikita Zaitsev isn't in your roster and you need someone to play the offside on the right side there, Kaiser's put the best performance on tape out of all the guys that have done it so far.
He's been really good, and there was also a moment from him that was not great, not terrible, but just something is like Derek King says, you got to coach a junior out of these guys. He's leaving the Hawks zone. He's got the puck, he's got space, he's got time, and he's looking to start the rush the other way. And the internal clock. We talk about this a lot with young quarterbacks in football, right? Like, knowing I got to get rid of the ball because the pressure's coming. Kind of the same idea here with Wyatt Kaiser, where he's leaving the zone and thinks he's got more time to make a play, gets his stick lifted from behind, and Detroit takes it away. Nothing came of it, not a big deal, but that's the sort of thing that you're only going to get by playing.
Yeah.
You're only going to figure out the NHL timing by playing, but it was just something I observed from him, and I've seen it a couple times with him where he's got maybe a safe outlet pass to make, and he'll try to kind of skill and handle it to make maybe a more of a breakout than just a clear, which is good. You want an offensive defenseman thinking offensively and trying to get the rush going and trying to create chances, but sometimes you've got to make the smart play and the safe play.
Yeah.
And these are lessons he will learn as his career goes on. Again, it's almost, to me, much like Connor Bedard struggling in the last game in the first period here, I'm almost glad it's happening because Luke Richardson can take that film and say, here's what you need to work on.
Yeah.
Here's an illustration of a moment that I can show you that now when the regular season comes around, you won't make the same mistake. We've got a piece of video from Luke Richardson. We got too much to get to today, but we're going to show it during tomorrow's show. We're on tomorrow at 2:30. Where Luke actually talks about the moments he showed Bedard from that last game in Detroit about things to do, things not to do, and how to learn from these mistakes. It's more great stuff from Luke Richardson. So make sure you join us tomorrow at 2:30 to see that. I think we have gone too long without talking about Lukas Reichel's game too.
Yeah.
He looks like a different player.
Not on the score sheet tonight, but damn, he looks just so ready for this NHL opportunity.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like, I know we've been, banging the table for a season and a half. We've been ramming it. For Reichel to be a regular in the NHL, and now there's no doubt that he's going to get that opportunity. And through the preseason, there is just no doubt that he's ready to go. Like, he has been itching for this opportunity to finally be in the NHL, stay in Chicago, and not have to make reservations at the Olive Garden in Rockford. It can be, he can have his Chicago cut or whatever.
There you go.
And just the confidence that he plays with, it's just so visible on the ice, and it spills over into the locker room too. Like his confidence talking with the media this camp it's just grown. So I think he's just ready to finally get in the NHL and be in the NHL and be secure in that spot.
It's almost like beyond confidence with him. It's almost like swag.
A little bit, yeah.
I know that I am one of the most skilled players on this ice, and I'm going to show you, and he's not afraid. Like, there was a play today where he banked it off the boards to himself and skated around a defenseman. Like, there's just so many moments that are kind of, Yeah,
as much as we're oohing and ahhing over Bedard, Reichel's out there making, not as flashy, as highlight worthy, but if you're really paying attention, you're like, subtle touches of the puck that make a difference to keep a possession or to keep a play alive. He's been doing it.
One thing I noticed about him, too, is he is a very upright skater.
Yeah.
Kind of like straight up over his skates, so he's able to have the head up, be looking ahead of him. And you see him a lot of times kind of like advance the puck and then kind of like jump back to get around, to avoid contact or whatever, to get around the skaters. I don't know. Him and Reichel or him and Bedard are very different in the way they skate.
Yeah.
Bedard's real, like, kind of low to the ground, shifty, and Reichel
they're built
is
differently.
Yeah, definitely.
Physically.
But just even the style is interesting to watch. But two very similar players, and boy, I'm really glad. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch them together. At some point this year, it's going to happen on the power play. At some point, we'll see them on the same line.
I would think so.
Down a goal late or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's so good that he is handling his job at center as well as he is. The face-offs need work. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He won 3, lost 6 today. Fine. They'll figure that out. But in terms of like the defensive play, now, that second Veleno goal, it was his man to cover, but it was a tic-tac-toe play. He was on Veleno the whole time, and he didn't get picked, but he basically got picked on that play. So he was a step slow. But credit to Veleno for making the great play. I think Detroit, for the score and how lopsided it could have been, played this game pretty well. I commented earlier, like, they had really good sticks in lanes and spacing defensively. Like, the Hawks were having a lot of trouble getting stuff through early on in this game. It kind of fell apart for Detroit late in the game.
Yeah.
But they played the Hawks pretty well. But I'm so impressed with the way Reichel, but I just wasn't sure how. He finished last year so strong, and I think we all had faith and hope that, okay, we're seeing the real guy here, but those games were so meaningless. It was kind of hard to, like, okay, does it mean anything? Like, is Andreas Athanasiou, what he showed at the end of the year? Is Boris Kachuk what he showed at the end of the year? It's so hard to make any sense of it. Reichel has been one of the best Hawks since camp opened.
Yeah, no, and I think, getting that opportunity late in the season, I think was kind of like that bone being thrown to him, and he took advantage of it. But now you're coming in with, so much expectation on this team. Well, so much expectation on one guy specifically on this team that will translate to the rest of the team. But more eyes on the Blackhawks, and I think Reichel is primed for that opportunity. And I think, his play style, his personality, it really complements and this isn't a dig, it really complements to him being like the B option behind Bedard. Like Bedard has got the like prime spotlight skill set where Reichel can come in and play that subtle role to make those little differences, to make those little plays that make big differences. And I think that bodes well for him. And I just think, the two of them on this team, their stalls are right next to each other. I cannot wait for both of them to really, grow and bud into the top NHL players that they should be able to become.
A couple of people talking about how the analytics didn't love Reichel in this game. He was a -2. He didn't have any points. He was only credited with 1 shot on goal. So this is a stark reminder to trust your eyes. The analytics tell a story. The eye test tells a story. Trust your eyes. Reichel played very, very well. If you don't believe me, Troy Murray singled him out during the second intermission today as a guy who's playing great. So analytics tell one story. Trust your eyes, though. Trust what you're seeing. You've been watching hockey for a long time. You know what a good hockey player looks like, and Lucas Reichel is that. All right, Greg is standing by. So before we get to him, we want to remind you, if you're headed out to a Hawks game or a Bears game, you want to get fitted out in the best sports gear around. You can get your hoodies, you can get your toques, you can get your slippers, your pajama pants, whatever you need to stay nice and cozy at Soldier Field or the United Center. Boy, it is nice to be back at the rink, I'll tell you that. And we get fitted out at foco.com. You should too. Not only is it all the great apparel you can get at Foco, but the awesome set decorations like we have here, bobbleheads, signs, any sort of decor you're looking for. I saw like garden stones in there, all sorts of cool stuff for your man cave, your she shed, your garden, whatever you're looking for. Foco has it. Go to foco.com or click the link in our description below. And for all non-presale items, use that promo code CHGO and you will save 10% at foco.com.
Yeah, and if you're looking good with your Foco Spurch, you can up your game with a pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather that's sticking around with premium polarized shades at affordable prices. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that is just as good, if not better, than any expensive pair any of us have ever owned, with durable frames and extremely clear optics for all of your outdoor adventures. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by their lost and broken replacements program. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one of owning it, they told us that they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. So you can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. Together with their customers, Shady Rays is also providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through their Shady Rays Impact Program. From building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and into the future. If you don't love your Shady Rays, what you will, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back, and exclusively for our lovely CHGO listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use the promo code CHGO. When you do, you're going to get 50% off of 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. I think that's buy one, get one free. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Got through that one a lot better than the first.
All right, before we bring in Greg, see a new commenter here. Matthew Cook says, as a 30-plus years Blackhawks fan, this podcast is what I'd always hoped for as a kid and throughout. These guys deserve a like. Hit that thumbs up, Hawks fans. We thank you for that, Matthew. Thanks for being here. Cook. Make sure you tell a friend as well.
We're also going to point out it's not Matt Cook. Cook with an E.
No, not Captain Pudwack.
He of knee-on-knee contact.
Yes, it is Matthew Cook, a more dignified version of Matt Cook. We got some super chats to get to as well, but we're going to bring in Greg right now, live from the United Center. It is our buddy, Greg Boysen. What's up?
Hey, Greg.
Hi.
Hello.
How are we?
We're good. How was the sports?
It was fun. I don't think Connor Bedard wanted his first goal of the preseason to be of the empty net fashion. He didn't even want to celebrate it. But Luke Richardson said something I've actually never heard before. He said, "Yeah, Connor doesn't want to score those type of goals, but I like them. They count." And he said, I've heard it's a line drive in the paper millions of times, but I've never heard this. He says, there's no pictures in the goal column, just numbers. I like that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like that. Very good.
I do like that. Man, I mean, we've been talking about the adjustment of Bedard's game from the first half of the game to the second half when he started putting out some points and maybe looking a little bit more confident. Did Richardson say anything about any adjustments that Bedard was making or that the team made to kind of get out of that funk, especially the start of the second period where 75 seconds into the period, they've allowed the game tying goal and find themselves on a penalty kill?
Yeah, he managed that. He mentioned that they managed the puck a lot better after the first period. They weren't fumbling as much at the blue line, at both blue lines, as they did in that first period. You got to remember, the Blackhawks only gave up 5 shots on goal after the first period. It's pretty impressive. They gave up, I think, 12 in the first period, and then they only gave up 17 on the night. So they really shored up. They gave up that goal right away. They killed the penalty, and then they kind of took over the game after that. Detroit did not have a lot of chances after that. The physicality picked up a little bit, and the Blackhawks were getting more sustained pressure and more sustained shifts in the offensive zone. And I think, a choppy ice surface probably took away maybe 3 or 4 other goals on the night. I mean, I don't know if you guys talked about Mackenzie Entwistle's 2 whoopsies. Tyler Johnson missed a wide open net. Lucas Reichel hit a post. I'm sure we're kidding a lot about Entwistle, and Luke was asked specifically about those 2 plays because it's coming from a guy that is fighting for a team, for a roster spot. Tyler Johnson misses a wide open net or Lucas Reichel hits a post. It's no big deal. Those guys are here. They're not going anywhere. But Luke said that he was both happy that Entwistle found himself in those situations because those are a good thing. You get yourself on a 2-0 rush, and then the ice monster comes and takes you down. But to be on the side of the net wide open, he said he was both happy that he's in those spots to make those plays, but also wishes he could kind of bury those. But they said they had some fun with those. He said Mackenzie's going to look at that play he hit the post on and realize he had time. He said, and I quote, he could have stopped and tied his skates and then put the puck in the net. He said the guys were giving him some grief on the bench and laughing about it. He said they won the game, so you can come out tomorrow and not look at it so bad. He said Tyler Johnson came over to Mackenzie after he hit the post and after Johnson missed that wide open net early in the game, and he said he tapped him on the head and said, "Welcome to the club, kid. We all do it."
Yeah, Tyler Johnson nearly broke his neck looking to the sky after going too high on that open net chance there. So yeah, he was speaking from experience.
He knew he let me down, and who's your Hawk? So feel shame, Tyler. Feel shame.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit.
I didn't win, so I don't care how you guys decided.
Did anyone say anything about the ice?
Connor Murphy talked a little bit about it. He said it was a little better than it was Thursday, but he was still pretty choppy out there. I mean, we saw Mackenzie Entwistle, but guys were falling all over the place. Pucks were jumping off his sticks. It didn't look very smooth out there, and I don't expect it to be any better on Thursday. We've got unseasonably warm October weather. They are currently putting the floor down because Dave Chappelle is doing a concert here tomorrow, and then they're going to take it down and put the ice back up for Thursday, and then they're putting it back on for Friday and Saturday. There are going to be a lot of concerts here between now and the home opener, so I'm not expecting the ice to get in tip-top shape here anytime soon, but I'm sure it will get better as it gets colder outside and there's less events besides hockey happening here.
I can only envision Dave Chappelle in full Rick James guard with his dirty boots walking on the ice and going, F your ice. I can only think of that now.
That would be amazing. That's worth Mackenzie Entwistle falling down on a 2-0.
Oh, man.
Definitely. So we've been talking about Lucas Reichel and obviously Connor Bedard and Wyatt Kaiser. One guy we haven't talked about so far, and this is a guy that Luke went out of his way to talk about earlier today, is Colton Dach, who was a late addition to the lineup. Ryan Donato was supposed to play, but then was scratched with a groin injury, and then Dach was added in. Started the game on the second line, but finished the game on the top line with Connor Bedard and Taylor Hall. And when we look at his numbers for the night, absolutely outstanding. 3 shots on goal, a block shot, 4 hits. He had 16:32 of ice time, which was second among Hawks forwards, only 6 seconds fewer than Taylor Radish. Colton Dach continues to make his case, and I've been kind of singing his praises all of camp, and I feel like, not that you guys haven't been, but all things being equal, he's been better than Entwistle. He's been better than Kachuk. He's been better than Radish. He's been better. I can go up and down the list of Hawks that Colton Dach's been better than. And I know there's no rush to get him into the NHL and let him go down to Rockford and let him dominate and all these things. But, man, I don't know what more the guy has to do to make his case to make this team out of camp. He's been everything they've asked him to be. He can play in every line, in every role. I don't know. I've been so impressed with Colton Dach.
He needs to be about 2 years older. That's about.
Sure.
I think that's. But you're absolutely right. He's played great. He was wonderful tonight. By the way, not to get lost in the shuffle, the groin injury, minor day-to-day, according to Luke Richardson for Ryan Donato. So it sounded like if this was a regular season game, there wouldn't have been an issue. But they're not going to push anything for an exhibition game. But yeah, Colton Dach went from not playing at all to being one of the most effective players on the ice. I think he does need some time in Rockford just to kind of get more acclimated to the pro lifestyle. But it's not if he's an NHL player. It's more when he's an NHL player. It's probably going to happen before this season is over. And we may not even get to Christmas before he's a full-time NHLer if he goes down to Rockford and plays like this. 2 things that really stuck out for me on his game tonight is the trust Luke Richardson has in him, because that late penalty kill up a goal after Bedard got called for tripping, Colton Dach was out there for a lot of that kill. I mean, that's a lot of trust from a head coach saying, hey, get out there and kill the penalty. And right after Veleno scored his second goal of the game that tied the game, it was Colton Dach that drew the penalty on Veleno that led to the Corey Perry game-winning goal. It happened behind the play, so it probably wasn't on the TV broadcast. He was skating down the ice with somebody. I don't remember who it was, and that guy, he kind of gave whoever skated by him a shot, and then Veleno came rushing in, and Veleno got caught, going after Dach. But then Dach, the play kept going. The penalty was coming, and then they tried to bait Dach into taking a penalty after the whistle to retaliate. And he kind of just stood there and walked away and let Connor Murphy get in between them. And that was the difference right there, because they scored a goal ahead of goal just about a minute later, off the great pass by Connor Bedard and our new favorite Blackhawk, Corey Perry, with 2 goals. I told you.
Yeah. I think, it's interesting with Kurashev's wrist injury, which Luke Richardson said today that he's probably a week away from not even a week away from getting back on the ice, but a week away from just kind of knowing more about what's going on. Seems like there's still an evaluation period going on. But it sounds like, Kurashev might be on track to miss the first 2-3 games of the year if the wrist injury is anything more than what the team is hoping it is. That could open up a potential chance for Doc to start the season in Chicago with the way he's been playing. I know that we've been talking about bubble guys like Entwistle and Kachuk and Reese Johnson, but there's a chance that maybe Doc stays up for the first couple of games and maybe finds his way into the lineup if Kurashev is out, because as we talked about during the game today when we learned that Donato was out and Doc was in, Doc's a guy that can play up in the lineup, can play on a second or third line right now and fill a role that is a guy that can play physical, that can be chippy, but also can provide you some offensive pop that maybe Kachuk or Entwistle or Reese Johnson couldn't do, that you can't play them up in the lineup. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with Kurashev, but I think there's maybe there's a unexpected opportunity for him to at least start the year here.
Yeah, we talked about that exact scenario while the game was going on. If Kurashev can't play those first handful of games, maybe it makes more sense to keep Colton Doc up until Kurashev returns, because he can give you, they're not the same player, but he definitely can give you some offense where, your other options, you have Kachuk, you have Reese Johnson, you have Mackenzie Entwistle. Those guys kind of all do the same thing, even though Kachuk and Entwistle have they had some really good chemistry tonight. But yeah, maybe. There definitely needs to be some time in Rockford, I think, for Doc. Yeah. But he's making that decision harder on the coaching staff. So what Lebowski says that Colton Doc equals future Troy Brouwer, and I say this with the greatest of compliments. I think Colton Doc could be the next Cup era team's Dave Bolin, with a little more offensive upside, because we saw tonight, he's got that peskiness. He's willing to get under guys' skin like Bolin. He's definitely a chirper on the ice, and he's got the personality for it. So I think he could be that type of player where, he could give you 20 goals, but he's also going to give your team a lot of power plays, because other guys are just going to want to punch him in the face and get caught, just like Joe Veleno did tonight.
Whatever. I know he needs time in Rockford, but I just like him. I want him here. I'm selfish.
Well, he's replacing Samuel Savoie for you. You got to have a new guy.
We should mention that, by the way. Luke talked about that. He's going to come and recover in Chicago. But they said the spirits from Savoie are high. He said he's had a smile on his face the whole time he's been getting his treatment, and he will head back to Chicago to be with their doctors and all that sort of stuff. So, broken femur. That sounds awful.
Mm-mm.
Well, he is under contract. So, I mean, what would you rather have him? Recovering with NHL staff and doctors, or 100%. QMH? So, yeah. He's officially a Chicago resident, and that rehab hopefully goes well, and we see him back on the ice next training camp.
Is there anybody else that Luke Richardson highlighted in this game that we haven't mentioned yet?
I mean, he was impressed with Lucas Reichel's game. Says he's starting to figure out the right spots that he needs to be on the ice at all times. I know the Corsi numbers don't look great on him, and he was a -2. But when he had the puck, he was the second best player on the ice tonight. And everybody was raving about Connor Bedard's playmaking abilities. I mean, everybody talks about his shot and his release, and rightfully so. But it's been his playmaking that's been on display in 2 of these 3 games. And Corey Perry and Connor Murphy were all kind of like, we've been trying to tell you guys that it's more than the goals with this kid. And that pass he made on the power play goal, not many people can do that. And I think he might be the only 18-year-old player that can make that pass to see where Hall was and get it there quickly in very little space. That was an unreal pass for a kid playing in just his 3rd NHL preseason game.
Somebody in our chat made this comparison to Lucas Reichel, and I want to see what you guys think of it. Matt says Reichel reminds me of Martin Havlat.
He's bigger, but yeah, I mean,
how tall was Havlat?
I don't think he was that tall, was he? 5'11"? 6 feet even?
HTTP.
6'2", 210.
slash
6'2", 210. All right, I don't remember that.
faster than me.
I thought
6'2", 210 for Havlat,
I
huh?
So he's
thought he
bigger
was,
than
I
Reichel.
thought, all right, I don't remember him being that big, but that was a long time ago, and I've lost a lot of brain cells between the time he left Chicago and now. So, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch some more Martin Havlat to make a better educated comparison. The Martin Havlat era is kind of fuzzy to me at almost 11 o'clock on this Tuesday night. So, um, yeah,
I mean,
not
so
sure.
I'm not too sold on Havlat, but I think there's better comparisons you could make.
I thought it was interesting.
I hope he's.
I can see the comparison in terms of like the way they move on the ice and maybe the scoring potential. So Havlat, I forgot his last year with the Hawks, 08-09. He had 77 points in 81 games.
Yeah.
He was a very good player.
He was their best player for a while.
I mean, you remember there were people that were upset that we let go of Marty Havlat because we had to go sign that Hossa guy. So
There were. James Neveau was that guy.
Ooh.
But he admits it all the time, so I told him, stop feeling bad. Everyone gets a bad take here and there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That output would be nice. A 77-point season. His career, Havlat played 790 games, 594 points.
I mean, it's not a horrible career to ask for, but yeah,
I'd like him to shoot a little higher, but it's not bad. If that's what it turns out to
Yeah.
be, I'll take it. But I'd like a little more.
It'd be nice if it was more than that, but yeah, I don't know. I still kind of go back to, a Teravainen-esque kind of player.
I can see that for sure.
But I think the difference is I think Reichel has a little bit more of a perchance to be a little like, a little bit more like, a little no-look pass here that kind of squeaks through and springs a guy. Like, I think he has a little bit more of that than I remember seeing of Teravainen, and that I've seen of him since he's been in Carolina. But I think he's kind of got that, like a kind of similar build, similar style a little bit. I think if he could pan out to something like that, that'd be wonderful.
I wonder if he'll ever develop the defensive game that Teravainen has. I don't know. I just feel like it seems like Reichel has a little more self-confidence than Teravainen. Teravainen, like, to this day, is still very kind of soft-spoken and shy, and where I wouldn't say Reichel's not shy. I think last year he was a little shy.
Might have been.
But he seems like a different guy this year, confident with the media. Still, there are some things lost in translation a little bit, but, again, like, on the ice, off the ice, Lucas Reichel just seems like a totally different dude this year. And he, as we're looking at our 4-star of the night votes, still got a few minutes to vote before we wrap the show up. 4-star of the night, he is leading with 38% of the vote. Second is Peter Mrazek, surprisingly. And third is Colton Dock. So 38, 32, 30 is your total.
Very close.
I think we picked 3 good names.
Yeah, got some good ones.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know
So
who
get
else?
those
You know
votes
who
in.
else picked a good name tonight?
Yeah, I know.
This guy did.
You
Who'd you
guys
pick?
saying that we need to not be able to pick Bedard every night, and now you're going.
Yeah, well, our board of governors meeting is scheduled for October 9th. So
We've all had him once, and the guy who's had him has won 3 out of the 4 nights.
yeah, so you gotta go with the strategy here. So, yep, Mr. Bedard's empty net goal sealed it for me because he had 2 assists in the goal. And one of the assists was on the power play, so he had 5 points. Taylor Hall had 3 assists with 1 on the power play, so that's 4 points. And Tyler Johnson missed a net.
It's an extra point for each of you because the Hall and Bedard's second assists were also on the game-winning goal.
That's true. That's true.
So, yes, and Tyler Johnson gave me a big fat 0.
Oh, that's how it goes sometimes.
Boy,
Yeah, I'm gonna have a few words for him tomorrow after practice. Be like, come on, dude, hit the net. Come on.
that empty netter he missed was just unreal, and he was just looking at the sky like, "Are you effing kidding me?"
It was the first shift of the game, right? Yeah.
He was looking up at me, going, "Dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry."
I'm so sorry,
Well,
Greg.
he should have. He should
As
have.
I'm flipping him to Bird from up top.
That's right. Onyx says, what's the update on Blackwell? Will he play this season at all? We have frankly not heard much about Colin Blackwell at all.
As far as missing season,
I don't think that's
no. I don't. I would like to think not, but no. I mean, he has not been on the ice all training camp.
No, he was skating with the veterans before training camp, and yet he hasn't been on the ice since. I believe he's still recovering from that sports hernia surgery. So their updates have kind of been like week to week. I don't think it's season-threatening injury, but he's obviously not going to be here for the opener. He's not going to be here for a while. So we'll see what happens with that. That was like one of these guys that was in a roster space, so he may have been Wally pipped, and when he's healthy to come back, there's just no spot for him.
Yeah, it's tough. That's tough.
It's hard.
All right, anything you want to add before we wrap things up? Let you go. I know we got some super chats to pay off, but we'll let you get out of there. Any news and notes we should know about?
No, I think we covered it all. I did see, leaving the press room, the Soderblums chatting in the hallway. You could definitely tell they're brothers, even though Elmer is like 6 inches taller, but they have the same exact hairdo. They were hanging out in the hallway chatting in Swedish, so I couldn't tell you what they were talking about.
Were they arguing over how they're pronouncing their name?
Might be.
Soderblom.
So.
Nice.
All right, Greg. Thanks, man. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you before 2:30, but everyone in the chat will see you at 2:30 on our show.
Can't wait.
Thanks, man.
Good night, boys.
All right, take care. That is Greg Boysen from the UC. Before we wrap up, let's get these super chats in here real quick. I know we've got a $5 one from Lebowski 5.
Nice.
Says, do you guys remember Kane and Taves' preseason rookie year? I have no memory of it at all. I remember the regular season vividly, just nothing from the preseason. No, I don't really remember that either.
No.
And I think that's probably a solid point to to keep in mind as we grind through. Man, Mark Lazarus, I think, tweeted it about, like, God, I don't know how the NFL and baseball do such a long preseason, because I'm feeling it too. It's like, let's get to the regular season already.
I'll say this: the pomp and circumstance around NFL OTAs and training camp and all that is much higher than the NHL's. And baseball, when it's February and shitty weather here in Chicago, if you're a beat writer covering the team, you get to go to Arizona or Florida. That doesn't sound bad.
No,
for a month. Like, I wouldn't mind that at all. So
I would take
I
that.
think there's different ways to get around it and to approach it. I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was.
Really, you'll think of it.
I'll think
Hawks Hockey 98 says, why do you guys take turns watching the games? You all should be there together with a mic in your hands after the game. Well, we are all there for the first two periods.
Well, I can't. Logistics, sir.
And the reason someone stays behind is so they can cover what Luke Richardson says, and potentially Greg did actually send in video from Corey Perry and Connor Murphy, but we're just sort of out of time to share it. Maybe we can get to it during tomorrow's show. But yeah, we want someone there in case news breaks or something is said after the game. We want to give you that element of locker room coverage. All three of us don't need to be there. Two of us are here, getting the show on the air, and then the third person joins in, and Greg and Mario alternate in that role.
Right.
So that's why
if we were all at the stadium, we wouldn't get back here for another 20 minutes, longer than that. After post-game availability, we wouldn't be back here for almost an hour after the game's over.
Yeah, we probably would have started the show 20 minutes ago.
Right. Yeah.
And then we lose a lot of people, so that's why
we want to be able to get to the people right away.
Absolutely. And when we get back here, we can pound some Goose Islands.
You know, I was thinking, what I need to.
Oh, are we gonna do this now?
No, not right now.
Okay,
I was thinking about looking at this cup, KUP, the cup. We got the ball signed by all the players here.
Nice.
Very nice. It is. I mean, I've been around the Stanley Cup before, and this is a very close second. It is prime for drinking something out of this. Jay,
I can't touch it. I had nothing to do with it.
What should we drink out of this? You're part of the management staff.
I didn't touch it.
Oh,
nope.
I didn't play in the championship games, but I
you were on the team.
I did play in the regular season, so my name is on here.
It should be.
Yes.
Mine should not, because I stayed away, and that's why you won. See how that works? The Cup League champion CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company. That's what you should drink out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago's beer since 1988. You could drink the Oktoberfest out of there.
Yeah.
The Beer Hug family.
Sure. That's
The
a heavy one.
312.
Yep.
The Full Pocket Pills. Or you could be a real man, pour them all in there, and drink them all at the same time.
The Goose Cocktail.
Hell yeah. The Pocket Pills, that's the everyday beer. It's what the Brewers are drinking. I love that can, by the way. And the case is real cool.
I like
With
it.
like the race car cat on there. It's nice looking. Grab an ultra fresh brewery exclusive beer at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. We love our Goose Island. We love all their products. What's your favorite? Mine's the 312 or the Green Line, depending on my mood.
The Green Line holds a special place in my heart because it is what fueled my 2015 Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final
There you go.
post-game victory celebration.
I just tried the new Oktoberfest. That is a must-try for you guys.
All right,
Oh,
I
yeah.
gotta try it. I haven't tried it yet.
Oktoberfest apparently runs all of September through October, so there's plenty of time to try
Well, the
it.
harvest is in September, and then
Do you know the story of Oktoberfest? Because you would definitely educate me.
No, I don't know that much. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's what I got
so I
for
can
you.
see inside of it because I can't touch it. I would say probably 3 beers in there.
3? I mean,
At least 3.
you could get more than that in there.
Well,
It's a deep cup.
We could have Herb just start chugging out of that. Like,
Sure.
he's the one that could do 3 beers, no problem.
Yeah, he just opens his throat and just right down.
Do we each get a day with this?
I don't get anything.
I think we should.
Think there's a tour involved?
I think we should.
Just
Yeah.
don't drop it off a roof like Brent Seabrook did.
Yeah. Well, I'll try not to. No promises. Look, I mean, there have been some storied organizations that have won this cup, and now CHGO gets to add their name to it. I think being the brash new kids on the block, we're like the Golden Knights.
You're hanging tough.
We showed up. We lasted longer than 6 months, and now we got ourselves a cup. I think we should start making some new traditions with this thing.
Who'd we beat, by the way, for the championship?
I don't know. I wasn't there. You might know
Do you
them.
know who it is, Steven?
Yeah, I think it was Odyssey.
Oh, never
Yeah,
heard of it.
they're familiar with reaching the finals. But no, I think we should definitely.
The Buffalo score.
I think we should definitely start some new traditions with this old cup here.
Love it. All right. Well, maybe next year I will show up and do what I do every time I bet, ground in a second,
That's fine.
pull a hammy, and then if we win it again, I will touch the cup.
As long as you're in the lineup for one game,
All right. Fair enough.
you got it.
Fair enough. All right, folks. Thank you to everybody pointing it out in the chat. We are a week away.
Yes.
Actually, this time next week, we will be doing our post-game show from Pittsburgh after Game 1. So we're going to be there. We hope you're going to be there with us, too. Let's make a plan here, all right? Next Tuesday, as the Hawks beat the Penguins 7-0 on their home ice, embarrassing them, they're going to sign Buddy Robinson for one game, have him ride the ceremonial Zamboni. I want every Hawks fan that has ever watched this show to join us for the post-game show.
Absolutely.
Win or lose, it is Connor Bedard's first game. It'll be a historic night either way. You got to be here next Tuesday. Game 1 post-game. We will be in Pittsburgh. And if we turn on this show and there's like 65 people, I'm just going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. We got to have a ton of people, a ton of likes, a ton of like buttons smashed, a ton of new subs.
Yep.
Tell your damn hockey-loving friends. Let them know about CHGO Blackhawks, and we will be here for you. We're here tomorrow at 2:30. We're here, I think, the rest of the week.
Tomorrow at 2:30, then Thursday post game, and then Friday show,
Friday show.
and then Saturday post game,
yeah.
and
And
then
Saturday we're doing a pregame.
pregame and post game.
Hell yeah. So we're with you the rest of the
We're
week.
gonna pregame it.
Hopefully you're with us. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2:30 on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.